And now, Deep Thoughts by Brad and Gary.
Hello and welcome to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. We're Gary Seath and Marty Melnick. Hi, Mickey! Today on Deep Thoughts, we're talking about Meatballs, the feature film starring Bill Murray.
And a bunch of random Canadians.
This film was originally released on June 29th, 1979. That makes this
46 years? 46 years ago
46 years this week.
Do you know what movie was released this date? This actual date?
June 24th.
I will not give you the year. June 24th, but I will not give you the year.
You'll not give me the year? I don't know. Ghostbusters?
No. You're close, though. Twilight Zone, the movie. Featuring Dan Aykroyd and our friend, Albert Brooks.
That's the only movie that you could get. All right.
It's the closest I could get.
This film was directed by Ivan Reitman.
There you go.
This is his first feature film, right?
Yep, Ivan Reitman directing, written by Len Bloom, Dan Goldberg, who are friends of Ivan Reitman, who I believe their initiative was, let's go make a movie. Janice Allen, and of course, Harold Ramis.
But he was brought in later, yeah?
Yes, okay. He wasn't part of the original draft. I guess we'll get into all that. But yes, he is, I think, a valuable asset to this film. And as we know, him and Ramis and Murray would go on to do so much great stuff together.
Yeah. Well, Mickey, what do you think about this film? Like, where does this sit on your list?
I love this movie. This is a great movie. I think it holds up well. It's really fun. It's a really, really good movie. It
is really fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun to watch this movie. Parts of it, I don't know that they hold up well. Parts of it have me going, well, 1979, but that's okay.
I don't think there's that many, though. There's like one or two, but I think this for a 70s comedy, I think holds up pretty well.
Yes.
I'm interested to have that discussion.
Yeah. But it is a lot of fun to go back and watch. I hadn't watched this movie in a very long time.
It had been a minute. Yep.
Yeah. And it was a good watch. It was fun to go back and check it out. I can't imagine that anyone listening to this has not seen Meatballs, but just real quick. Meatballs is a movie that takes place at summer camp, Camp North Star, and Bill Murray plays the head male counselor, Tripper, why Tripper? I feel like the name's Tripper.
Why not?
Tripper and Trapper. Like, there's so many 70s shows. Three's Company, MASH, Tripper, Trapper. Anyway, Tripper is the lead counselor at this, not so fancy overnight camp. And basically this movie is watching the hijinks ensue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's yes, exactly. I don't know. Let's just, well, here's a trailer. Let's just watch the trailer, shall we? It'll tell us everything we need to know.
You saw what he did to Saturday night. Now watch Bill Murray demolish summer. See, 300 kids from the city escape to the woods for a summer of wholesome fun in the sun.
I'm the program director, Jerry Aldini. Is that a bra you're wearing, or are you expecting an assassination attempt? I have what doctors call very active glands.
Tripper, is there something seriously wrong with you?
Meet the head counselor who knows the facts of life, but forgot them.
What's going on here? So this year, each camper will stalk and kill his own bear in our private wildlife preserve. These are the camp rules. Maury would like you all to take a look at these. We'll be in here if you want to check these out a little bit later. How's the leg?
Okay.
Yeah, for now. But if you don't win, we cut it off. But more important than the score of this game is to score at the big social at our place tonight.
It's not how you play the game, but how you win that counts.
Let the game begin! I'm talking to you with the exceptionally round hair.
For the country, for the glory of the human race.
It just doesn't matter if we win or we lose. It just doesn't matter. The real excitement, of course, is going to come at the end of the summer during Sexual Awareness Week. We import 200 hookers from around the world, and each camper, armed with only a thermos of coffee and $2,000 cash, tries to visit as many countries as he can. And the winner, of course, is named King of Sexual Awareness Week.
You'll be cheering for Bill Murray this summer in Meatballs.
Are you ready for the summer?
Are you ready for the good times? How do you not love that song?
Right? It's
Right?
that gets stuck in your head. That's
Oh
an
my
earworm
God.
song.
Even not watching this movie for years, like June rolls around and I'll be walking down the street and all of a sudden I'll hear myself being like, are you ready for the summer?
Oh, nice.
Are you ready? Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at you bringing it back.
Love it.
Well,
Love
I
it.
mean, this movie has been around literally almost our entire lives. Not quite. But do you remember when the first time was you saw it?
I don't remember the first time I saw it, but I know I had to go back to see it, if you know what I mean. Like, I know I had seen Ghostbusters, I had seen Caddyshack, I had probably seen Stripes.
Right.
And then I was actually thinking about this. Remember back in the day, you couldn't, people would tell you about movies. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't like IMDb where
Right.
you would look up somebody's stuff. So you would talk to somebody, whether it's, your dad or a friend or whoever, but, oh, you like Bill Murray? Did you ever see his first movie?
Right.
And that's how I found Meatballs. I don't remember when it was, but I know it was talking to somebody and expressing that I liked Bill Murray. And then they said, oh, you should see his first movie, because there's no other reason you would watch Meatballs other than the fact that it's Bill Murray's first movie. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, totally. I think this was a movie that I stumbled upon on like cable or something at some point.
Oh, maybe that's another one. Yeah, sure.
And that's my recollection of where I first saw it.
Or you're like walking through the video store back when this would be a thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was always fun.
And you're looking for and you're like, I'm just going to find, like, you have nothing planned. You're like, I'm going to go find movies, and you're walking through the comedies and you see a movie with Bill Murray on the cover that you never heard of before.
Right.
And you're like, what is this? And then that's how you find it. Like, that's how you did shit back in the day, which was so cool.
Yeah. And it was a really fun way to stumble upon things that you never would, necessarily find. So this is Bill Murray's first leading role in a film.
First role in any film, really, because I don't count Mondo, because
Okay,
it
that's
wasn't
fair.
supposed
Yeah.
to be a movie, and he did record The Jerk. He had a scene for The Jerk earlier that summer as well that they got cut.
Right.
But this still, I guess, timeline wise, because The Jerk came out later, this still would have been his first movie. But yeah.
So take us back then, Brad. Like, how did all of this come together? Sorry. So take us back then, Mickey. How did all of this come together?
I'm gonna laugh all episode. I mean, this movie is really Canada's answer to Animal House, no? You like it, right?
Yeah, I guess. Sure.
Right? You buy that? Come on. So Ivan Reitman produced Animal
Yes.
House and had really done a lot of the legwork of putting it together. He had worked with Lampoons. He knew Belushi and those guys, and he didn't have a lot of credit to his name at that point. I think he had one movie. I think it was titled, I forget what his movie was called.
It's called Cannibal
No
Girls.
one knew who he was. Yes, that's what it
Yeah.
was. Cannibal Girls. Thank you. I knew it was like a Roger Corman-esque title, but Universal wouldn't let him direct it. So that's why they got John Landis. And the movie, I think he could see what was coming and knew how good it was going to be and really wanted to direct. So like I was saying, he called up his two buddies and was like, we all went to camp. Let's make a movie about summer camp. And if you look at it, it's basically Animal House at summer camp. It's instead of the Deltas versus the Omegas, it's Camp North Star versus Camp Mohawk.
Right.
Tripper is your Bluto role. You're kind of somewhat elevated in the original script, somewhat elevated star in an ensemble of nobodies.
Right.
I mean, they even got Elmer Bernstein to do the score, who did Animal House.
Yeah, but he has done so many.
No. He's only done Gary.
He's only done two.
He's only done Animal House. He's done Animal House and Meatballs. Checks notes. That is correct. Yeah. So Animal House was shot what? Summer into fall of 78, right?
No,
summer fall into 77 because it came out in 78. And it was March of 78 that he had this idea. And he's like, I want to make this film. We're going to shoot it this summer. It's going to come out, which is like ridiculous when you think of the time frame of like writing it, or not even writing it, conceptualizing it in March.
Right.
And then writing it to shoot in the summer of 78 to then, come out later in 79. But just that like gestation period is so tiny.
It's very short.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like the plot to this is overly complex. Like I said, like it's a pretty straightforward summer camp. It's it's a lot of vignettes that are not necessarily tying anything together, except they all happen at summer camp. And it works for that because of the setting.
I agree. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And exactly. Like here's your like, there's no narrative. There is a narrative thread, but you're not going from A to B. It's like, here's the summer.
Right.
And we're just going to tell a bunch of stories. A la, here's a year of college. We're just going to tell a bunch of stories.
Right.
But you're right. It fits this template. It fits this setting very, very well.
I mean, it is kind of amazing that he has this idea. He conceives of this idea of let's shoot a movie about summer camp. And by the way, we're going to shoot it in 6 months. Right. So it was like March to August, September, they shot it.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, September they shot it. So yeah, whatever the math is on that.
That's 6 months. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I guess he had always had, he had worked with Bill Murray prior with Lampoon. So he always had the idea of Tripper for him. And when they did the first draft, I guess it wasn't the best in the world. And that's where they brought in Harold Ramis because, Harold had written Animal House at that point, but it hadn't come out yet because this is the spring of 78. Right. So Animal House hasn't become a hit yet, but he knows Bill Murray respects Harold Ramis and, admires him and likes him. So they get Harold Ramis to come in to do a rewrite on it, hopefully in the idea of like, let's get Bill Murray on board. And Ivan Reitman said just all the stuff Harold Ramis put in there is just gold and really elevated the script. I mean, he tells stories even after the Murray rewrite when Bill Murray, we'll talk about Bill later, but when Bill Murray finally shows up on set and he looked at the script, he's like, this is shit. Throws in the trash can.
Well, it's kind of amazing too that they have a script that can be deemed shit by the Star and thrown in the trash, but it still got backing from the studio to come and make this movie.
Well, it's all Canada. Yeah. It's a Canadian movie. So it's like, I mean, they got money. They'll make movies.
They still will. Yeah.
They still will.
What else? So it really was just Bill Murray and a cast of nobodies, right? These are all a lot of like just local kids from the camp where they ended up shooting. And
well, the kid, I am curious on how many of the kids, Rudy aside, they did cast a bunch of them, I feel like, because they had to. Sure. There's just too much involved with them. But but they did shoot at a live summer camp. And that was one of the things that took them ages to find a camp. They had no money. I think, like you said, they got the money, but the money was still only like, I've read between 1.2 and 1.6 million of a budget. Right. So because of that, they looked for an actual open summer camp. So they'd have, free set dressing, free props, free kids, free extras, free things to shoot, so they had to pay for it. And but to their actual cast, Ivan Reitman wanted to hire unknowns, for it to be believable. Kind of like Animal House too, where it's all these CITs. We should also say the original script, including during shooting, even after Bill Murray came on, was more, again, kind of Animal House. about the CITs. It was about them and the CITs and their life at summer camp, which when you watch the film again, and if you know that, you can kind of see that thread still kind of sticks through, and just they populate Bill with more stuff.
Well, and you can see some of the CITs that you can tell early in the film were setting up for some larger role, like Lance.
Something.
Right? Like the character of Lance shows up at one point, and then you never really see him again.
Wait, is Lance like the posh guy that the chick hates, who she jumps in the boat with Crockett
or whatever?
Yeah. That guy shows up really, you're right, really sporadically.
And it felt like in the beginning they were setting him up for something, but then he just kind of disappears and he's in the background. So you can see, like you're saying, you can see those threads of the CITs.
Yeah, and like Wheels and AL, is that her name?
Yes.
The blonde girl, like Wheels and AL, and Spaz and the girl he gets with. And I mean, you can tell all the CITs have characters. Fink is great, and it's like Crockett. They've got all these CIT characters set up that's where you can tell that's where they were trying to go with it.
Right.
And then Bill Murray just took over.
Well, and let's not take anything away from Rudy.
I got to admit, and I love this movie, but I don't know if Rudy is the best character. I forget the guy's name too. My wonderful research. I don't love Rudy in this movie, the way he's portrayed.
I mean,
he's a kid.
Our introduction to Rudy is this kid's dad literally drops him off at the buses and says, "All right, well, I'll see you at the end of the summer. All right." That's it.
Yeah, there's like a lot of subtext that is not addressed in that sequence.
No, not at all.
Like he's obviously a single dad.
Right. And Rudy's sad.
That's never mentioned.
I mean, the whole...
Yeah.
Well, just while we're on Rudy, in that bus scene, you see all of this fun stuff kind of happening, and then the car pulls up that Rudy's in, and all of a sudden there's sad music playing, like in the score. It's scored as sad music.
Elmer Bernstein.
Yeah. By the way, it's Chris Makepeace plays Rudy.
Yes.
The gist of the whole thing really is it kind of goes from the CIT's movie to this, it shows this relationship between Rudy and Tripper.
Well, they famously had done reshoots after the fact where they saw the movie after it was cut and they're like, oh, there's not much there. But they saw that there was something there with the stuff with Tripper and Rudy. And they went back and did these reshoots. So all the stuff we see with Tripper and Rudy in the cabin, that really kind of builds their relationship. And the scene where Rudy runs off after the soccer game and he's at the bus station and Tripper finds him, that was reshot.
Right.
So they really went back after they shot the movie and kind of created a new movie, which works so well, of the Tripper Rudy story. But you lost all those subplots of CIT stories.
Right. You gained the subplot of them running.
Yeah. Well, the running was always there, but they led up to it better, I guess.
What else? What else from the casting piece of this?
Well, I mean, the casting piece, the biggest thing is the story that's always told is like they started shooting this movie without having Bill Murray. Even with Ivan Reitman knowing him and having done, Lampoon with him, I think Bill Murray showed up, I've heard, somewhere between the second and third day, and they couldn't get a hold of him. We talked about it during things we did last summer. Bill Murray was following his buddy's minor league baseball team around,
right,
and coaching and, occasionally playing minor league baseball. And Ivan Reitman would say, like, he would send copies of the script to ballparks he thought Bill Murray would be at. Because Bill Murray would be like, I don't know, maybe, wouldn't give any answers. And this is to a guy he knew,
right,
back in the day. But Bill Murray was very hesitant, I guess, to take the role. As we talked about on the early years, he came into Saturday Night Live, midway, not at the start. It was midway through season 2. The cast was already starting to become famous. And he watched John and Dan become famous, and Gilda as well. Like, he watched his friends who he knew pre-SNL,
right,
and he saw their lives change. And I think he was very hesitant to jump into that. So he was very leery of jumping into a leading role when he saw what was happening to his friends.
And that's why no one has heard from Bill Murray since Meatballs, his one and only film.
No, but it's his one and only film. It's funny though, because like he's kept the same goddamn like routine of like, I'm hard to get a hold of and good luck finding me. And if you can get me, I'll do it. And I'll do it on my terms and only how I want, which is, there's pros and cons of that theory. But that was the big casting story. And then I guess it was like the day before shooting or the day up, first day of shooting, they get a call like Bill's in. And then he shows up and that's when he shows up 2 days later and he's like, okay. And then they're off and running.
That's crazy. I mean, the balls you have to do that. Even, I can see now because he's been doing it for so long. But
no, you're right.
In 1979, when you are on a TV show, no matter the size of the TV show, like TV and film were different beasts at that time, not like today.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. It's curious. It's interesting. Like if that wouldn't have played out, what would have happened? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, would he have kept that same kind of aura or whatever about him if it didn't fly on the first pass?
Right. Yeah. I mean, my take on him has always been that he cares more than he lets on. Like he gives off like, I don't care if I'm famous or whatever. It just happened. But I don't think that's actually true.
He plays into it.
Yeah.
I can tell you. Like, I mean, I know he plays into it. I mean, I think I've told you this story before. My favorite story working with Bill was I was doing a movie with him and he had to record songs. He was singing in the film and Paul Schaefer was doing the musical stuff with us. And they had an appointment on a Saturday in a recording studio to record. And I text Bill like the day before. I'm like, hey man, just making sure like you good tomorrow. Paul, you're going to record. He goes, I wish I still had the text. It was something of something along the lines of, sorry, I met a girl at Wingfoot. I got to play around to 18. Tell Paul I can't do it. It's like, what are you going to do? Like, I was like, hey man, Paul, sorry, Bill, he's not available. Can't come. It's like, it's fucking Bill Murray, man. Like, that's what he does. Like, he knows who he is and leans into it very well.
Yeah. No, I get it now. I'm just, I feel like he's always had that. And in 1979, even.
But what if it didn't work?
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying.
Right.
At this one, if it didn't work, would he have still done it? But regardless, it did. And now we have this amazing movie. The only other really kind of casting story, what if, is a Spaz. You know the Spaz story?
Yes. I only know it from you. So tell it to everyone else who doesn't know.
There's an actor, Eddie Deason, who at the time had been playing kind of nerds in movies like Grease and stuff. And he had been approached to play Spaz. I guess they offered it to him, but he turned it down because he was busy dying a slow death on 1941 with John and Dan. And they couldn't find anybody. So the guy who actually plays Spaz is this guy, Jack Blum, one of those two. But he was the casting director. And he was the guy casting the movie and they couldn't find anybody. And they're like, oh, you can do it. Like, yeah, you're the best guy. And so the casting director played Spaz.
That's awesome. He's pretty good. I mean,
he's very good.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I got to say, all these CITs, they're all very unique and they're all very good.
That was the thing that's you stole that word from me. Is unique because I think because there are so many CITs, it would have been really easy to kind of get them confused and things. And I felt like even, there are a few blonde girls that at first I was like, oh, which one was that?
Yep.
But then they were easy enough to differentiate. So yeah, I
agree.
They were very good.
Especially since, so much of the CIT story got cut out.
Yes.
They probably delved into some of them more than others and whatnot, and it all got cut out. And you can still tell who is who. Yeah. Yep. I like the guy, Phil, the blonde guy who has Rudy's bunk. Because at times he plays a very important role. Like he's very featured. And then he just disappears during other scenes.
Right. It's you're
like, what happened to this guy?
Watching this film again recently, it totally had the feeling of they had a screening. They realized they needed to cut a bunch of shit. And add a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And they literally just cut it, dropped something else in, or put it together. Like there wasn't, some of them are just like really hard cuts and hard transitions from like.
Oh, I don't know. I think they did a great job. I think it flows really well, especially with, and I'm guessing this had to be a post-production thing. The Bill Murray like voiceovers, they're not really voiceovers, PA announcements.
Yeah.
Because they set things up and they do a really great job, which I think it had to also been the reshoot because it takes place in his cabin, but the opening title sequence is great, where you're going through and you see Bill Murray wake up and turn on the PA and grab the microphone, and you established this theme of Tripper talking to the camp over the microphone.
Right.
And so they use that to kind of, to your point of like those hard cuts, segue from hard cut to hard cut, because you just cut to like random B-roll with Tripper over the microphone making an announcement.
Right. Well, what's interesting is that what Tripper does, or what Bill Murray actually does in that, is not in the script at all. And the original PA voiceover in the script kind of sets everything up very deliberately
for the opening, you mean?
Yeah. Of saying
what is it?
To the CITs, essentially, like, hey, CITs, welcome back to Camp North Star. We're going to have a great summer. And it kind of lays everything out, wherein what it is like Bill just going right into like stumbling out of bed, making coffee, spitting and saying, "Oh, I hope I didn't hit you." And then you see the footage and then you kind of get the sense of what's going on. But in the original script that I found, it's very much like, it's very
like more. It sounds like it's Morty.
It's
like a Morty script of what to say.
It's still,
and then he trippered it up.
It's the Tripper character, and it's kind of funny, but it is very deliberately just like laying out the scene, as opposed to what Bill does, which, you're just kind of thrown into the film at that point when Bill does it.
And that's a scripted opening was the PA?
A script. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I when I saw that, I was like, this must have been again like a reshoot, because then they cut to a bunch of B-roll, right? It's him in the shack.
Well, that's and I think that's what it was. Like, I think originally it was just the PA voiceover with the B-roll of the CITs, like painting the dock and stuff like that. But the voiceover itself was very deliberate of setting up the camp and the summer. Yeah,
it's such a great opening. It sets the character up. It sets the vibe of the movie up. Right. It's such a great opening.
Yeah. And it does really just kind of thrust you into everything and like, okay, we're going. Like, this is just, we're on.
Yeah, there's no back. Like, here you go.
Yep.
Boop, day one.
We're in for the ride with Bill Murray. And it's like, yeah, you're going to take it at that point. Let's see. What else?
Well, like we said, they shot at a working summer camp. So they were dealing with that. And at times unruly kids and kids trying to enjoy their summer while they're trying to make a film. They did, and it was shot in Canada. Like I said, this is a Canadian film. They shot at a camp about 5 or 6 hours outside of Canada called Halliburton, I believe was the town.
Outside of Toronto?
Outside of Toronto. Yeah, because then the production company was called like Halliburton Films. I think they named it after the town. And they had brought the cast up, the CITs up a week before to start rehearsing and getting to know each other. Again, they had no idea who was going to be Tripper at this point. I think a couple of cast members have told stories that they heard somebody from Saturday Night Live was going to be playing Tripper, and they all thought it was going to be Dan Aykroyd.
Oh.
And then Bill Murray shows up, and they're like, oh, who's this guy?
Interesting. He's not Canadian.
He's who? Oh, right, yeah.
It would have been fun if like in an alternate world, one of the guys from SCTV played Tripper.
Like Dave Thomas.
Dave Thomas. I was actually thinking Rick Moranis.
Moranis would be better. Yeah, Moranis would be better.
Yeah, that would be fun.
But yeah, they shot. There was a 30-day shoot from beginning of August to beginning of September, the end of summer camp, and it's really great. It's really fun. I mean, it's such a fun movie, and I think they started off really well with that sequence we're talking about with the PA and kind of establishing camp.
Yeah.
I love that gag with the two CITs putting the glass back in the one door.
Yeah.
It takes like 3 times. And of course, once they finally get it, they close the door and the other door
glass
breaks.
That's great.
It's fun.
again, it's setting up the tone for the entire film of just like, yeah, this is going to be fun and silly.
And that felt like Harold Ramis. Like those kind of things felt like the Harold Ramis rewrite. Because I feel like a lot of Bill, and I think I read this too, like Bill probably improvised half of his dialogue.
Sure.
And there's definitely scenes you can tell, especially early on. We talked about it when Rudy showed up. That scene in the bus stop where they're all outside of the Kmart.
Yeah.
And all the buses are getting up and everyone's loading up, and then they kind of like pan over from Camp North Star and you see the Camp Mohawk kids all showing up. And Bill Murray pops up as Jerry Aldini, program director.
For a TV interview.
These children are going to the most glamorous of all summer camps, Camp Mohawk. There's a 2-year waiting list, and every child has to be voted in. On top of all that, it costs $1,000 a week to go to Camp Mohawk. The question is it worth $1,000 a week?
It sure is. It's the best darn camp there is.
Well, are you connected with Camp Mohawk?
Well, I think so. I'm the program director, Jerry Aldini.
Well, how do you justify $1,000 a week?
Well, we have some special programs. We're doing Shakespeare in the Round again this year, of course. Our political roundtable, Henry Kissinger will appear. Yasser Arafat is going to come out, spend a weekend with the kids, just rap with them.
That's amazing.
And the kids wanted animals, so this year each camper will stalk and kill his own bear in our private wildlife preserve.
Are you sure the children can hack that?
We'll see. But the real excitement, of course, is going to come at the end of the summer during Sexual Awareness Week. We import 200 hookers from around the world, and each camper, armed with only a thermos of coffee and $2,000 cash, tries to visit as many countries as he can. And the winner, of course, is named King of Sexual Awareness Week and is allowed to rape and pillage the neighboring towns until camp ends.
That's incredible.
What do you expect for $1,000 a week? Hey, you have a good summer too, huh?
And that's just quintessential Bill Murray right there. I mean, that is gold.
Oh, that's one of the funniest scenes of any movie from that era, in my opinion. And kudos to that TV reporter, the guy playing the TV reporter.
That guy was good.
He is.
Random Canadian dude. He was really good. But I think that coupled with that opening is what seals this as a Bill Murray movie. Like, this is a Bill Murray movie, right? Like, it's his. He's taking control. It's his movie.
Well, yeah, because I think, you go from that opening scene with the PA to the bus pickup and drop off. And so now you're getting a sense of the CITs and all of the young kids and like the interactions between them, and then you see the interaction.
That bastard kid who's gonna like sue Morty because the buses are too old or something.
Right.
Roxanne. He's like, has Roxanne grab the kid and pull him off.
Right. And you're getting to know all of these kids and these characters. And like I said earlier, you see Rudy and his sad music. But then Bill, to your point, takes it right back and does this TV interview, which is just genius.
Genius. And then you cut to the park and you look in hindsight, it's like all the kids are, leaving the buses and going to their bunks, and Rudy's sitting on his suitcase, and they almost like they inadvertently set up that. I mean, that's where the story starts. Bill Murray walks over and sees him. He's like, "Oh, you must be the," what does he say? Like,
"You must be the short, depressed kid we ordered. Glad you made it."
Yeah. Yeah. So like,
but that was ADR. Like that was his voiceover was.
But even whatever, regardless,
no, it's still really
You think
good.
It was?
I mean, yeah, you could tell by listening to it.
I couldn't tell. I wasn't looking. But at least that moment's captured on film.
Right.
Where you've got it to set up that relationship for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
And then you just get into stuff where I feel like it's like, it's Bill Murray taking over like, okay, Bill, you're going to take the CITs to each cabin and give them their duties.
Right.
And it's just Bill riffing and doing shit. And it's really great. And then they meet the women, and there's a great 70s gag with whoever the hot blonde is. Like they're doing the stairs.
Yep.
And they're going up the stairs, and the women are coming down the stairs. And of course, the hot blonde stops right in front of Spaz, who's staring at her breast.
Yep.
It's like, it's such a great 70s comedy gag. It's another thing I should say, like, this is a PG movie.
Yeah. Yes.
Which I think is why it holds up.
Right.
Like, that's one of the raunchiest jokes, quote unquote, you get is like Spaz's face in a girl's breasts.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's like no swearing in this.
No. There's no nudity for a 70s summer camp. So actually, the original title of this script was called Summer Camp.
Right.
And the reason they changed it to Meatballs, because there was another movie called Summer Camp, which was basically like a softcore porn, I think, of like summer camp and teenagers and having sex. So like you made a late 70s teenage comedy with no nudity?
Right.
Kudos, Ivan Reitman.
Yeah, it's kind of impressive. Yeah, but because there's no nudity, there's no swearing. It's firmly in the PG realm. There was no PG-13 at this point in 1979.
Right.
But you're right. To that
but
point.
It's amazing. There's not even like a single boob flashed.
No. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
I think that's why it holds up so well.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, there is one scene.
Like this could...
And it's not... There's no nudity or anything, but it's where Tripper and Roxanne are in Morty's cabin.
That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one scene. I get it.
I feel like we see Bill Murray do that somewhere else.
That's apparently Bill Murray. I think Ivan Reitman has said he had seen Bill Murray, quote unquote, court ladies that way. Of like trying to wrestle them.
All right.
And like that's his foreplay. I don't know.
That's his move. Anyway,
that was the one scene I watched where I'm like, okay, this is not a good scene. This would not play today.
Correct. Right.
That was it, though.
No, I agree. I mean, and everything else is kind of like camp hijinks stuff where, Larry and Spaz crawl under the girls' camp to listen to what they're talking about.
Right. But they're listening.
Right. Yeah.
But they're the ones who get their clothes taken. Like Fink's the one who loses his pants in the situation. Or Larry. Yeah, Fink. Finkelstein's your man, sir. Larry Finkelstein. It's one of my favorite lines. Who's going to run the marathon?
He's such a great character. I mean, again,
Fink is great.
There's so many.
Fink and Spaz are great twosome.
They really are.
Fink and Spaz they're so good.
When they're.
How many times in this movie does Fink look to Spaz and said, "She wants it. Yes. She wants it."
I love when
every time there's a scene with them and women, she wants it.
And the way he says it too is just like you're saying. It's so good.
It's great.
When they're
that dude was like 28, I think. When he auditioned, he had like a mustache. He had apparently like a handlebar mustache because he was a play or something. And they like basically said no because they thought he looked too old. And he, I believe, in the audition, went to the bathroom and shaved off his mustache and came back in.
Wow.
To prove he could play a young kid.
That's funny.
He's so good.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He has a great line when they're in the CITs do the overnight for some reason. And I didn't go to overnight camp, so I don't know. But I was curious why all of the counselors did an overnight on some island.
Yeah, that was my big question.
Yes. When they're there and Spaz goes off with the one girl and he comes back and he's talking to Larry and he's like, "Oh, Spaz, you old makeout master." And then Spaz is like, "Well, no, we didn't." He tells them that they hold hands.
We just walked.
He's like, "You held hands in the forest at night? Spaz, you're on your way." And it's like so fun and genuine.
He went from so pissed. He went from so pissed that he didn't get a kiss to the fact that he held her hand.
Yeah.
It was an amazing turnaround. Yeah, so let's talk about this.
Yeah.
There's a scene in the middle of the movie and it's it's preceded by one of the reshoot scenes of Rudy at Tripper's cabin and they're hanging out and Tripper's like, "I got to go and do this overnight for a couple days."
Yes.
He says.
He says, "I'll see you in a few days."
I'll see you in a few days. And he like wants Rudy to do the morning announcements. Then he proceeds to get in a bunch of canoes, him and Roxanne, two of the apparent leaders of the camp.
Yes.
With 80% of the CITs we have met in this film.
It's not all of them?
It's that dude Philip I like. It's the blonde. No, it's the blonde dude Philip's not there. And that guy the asshole guy you mentioned.
Lance.
Lucas. Is that his name? Lance. Other than those two, as far as I can tell, every other CIT in this camp are gone for apparently several nights.
Yeah.
I have never been to sleepaway camp as well, Gary.
Right.
How does that work?
I'm very confused. I guess it's all Morty for those couple of days.
I then had a follow-up question since I've never been to sleepaway camp.
Mm-hmm.
If you work at a sleepaway camp, do you work 7 days a week? Do you get no off days?
I don't know.
Because those fucking kids don't go anywhere, right? They're stuck with you're stuck with them.
Yeah. I would imagine that you would like do
work
some sort
3
of
months
rotation.
nonstop?
No. I mean, first of all, overnight or sleepaway camps are like 7 or 8 weeks at the most. Like my neighbors go and it's 7 weeks, and they go for the most of the summer. So it's not 3 months, but I think it's like a rotating.
But you don't know.
Too.
You don't know. But you don't know the answer to my question.
To the 7 days a week, I don't.
That's got to suck. I mean, among all the other suckage things. But anyway.
I mean,
I had that same question though. Where are these? Who is watching these kids tonight? I had that same.
Yeah.
Yes, I did wonder. It was my one plot hole in this movie.
Well, it's
who was
funny.
watching these kids this night?
It's funny because I don't know that I had that thought the first couple of times I watched this movie, but
no,
this being the first time I think I've watched this movie since I've had kids, that was my question.
Oh my God. What else? It's a great little. They put a lot of good stuff together.
Yeah, we hear about Camp Mohawk in the beginning, and then we have the basketball game midway through, which kind of sets up the tension between the two camps and leads us up to the Olympiad.
Isn't the basketball game early? Basketball game was like early-ish in the summer, no?
Yeah, early. I mean, the summer goes by very quickly. We are like
it does go by
15
fast.
minutes into the movie, and the parents are showing up for visitation.
Well, the Olympiad takes the last 25 minutes.
Exactly.
I mean, the Olympiad starts the last third of the movie, so you only got about
So you see this progression. The rivalry with Camp Mohawk just kind of is there. It sets itself up, and these camps obviously don't like each other. But that really is the impetus for this. The main plot points of the film are, getting to the basketball game and then getting to the Olympiad. And like you said, the Olympiad takes up the whole last 20 minutes of the film.
Oh, because the socials after the basketball game, right?
Correct.
Because the whole idea, Tripper's pep talk during the basketball game is to guard your balls so you can.
Yes.
You'll be healthy to see the women at the social tonight. Right.
Right. So I just think it's interesting because we don't know anything. There aren't a lot of summer camp movies. It's not like this is a formula, but you don't really get like the bad guys like you do in Animal House, like you were comparing it to. You don't have the bad guy from Camp Mohawk. It's just kind of a general Camp Mohawk. They're all
general.
assholes.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting that there was no, singular antagonist.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But turns
Just
out you didn't really need it because the way they set it up was that the entire Camp Mohawk are the assholes.
Well, and that kind of comes to a head at probably the most famous scene of the film, which is that the pep rally that happens at Camp North Star the night after the first day of the Olympiad, where they're getting their asses kicked and the one CIT breaks her leg, or that injury is also suspect.
Yes,
but whatever,
it is.
It's like a broken leg. I don't know how she broke her leg with a girl running into her, but whatever. She broke her leg or her ankle or something. She's on crutches.
Yep.
That's all you need to know. That's obviously the most famous scene of the movie, I think, and which Ivan Reitman had admitted he was trying to recreate their own Bluto scene from Animal House with the Germans bomb Pearl Harbor scene, because he was trying to create that kind of a scene. And none of that was scripted. And the cast has talked about in interviews, they showed up to the set that night and they were just told Bill Murray is going to do something. You're just going to sit there. I mean, and you can tell that's just turn the cameras on and go and let him do his thing. It just doesn't matter. I think it started with a discussion with him and Reitman at some point, but you can just see Bill Murray taking that spark
right
and running with it.
Hey, come on. Look, just because we're losing doesn't mean it's all over.
Cut the crap, Morty. I mean, the Mohawks have beaten us the last 12 years. They're going to beat us again.
That's just the attitude we don't need, Phil. Sure. Mohawk has beaten us 12 years in a row. Sure, they're terrific athletes. They've got the best equipment that money can buy. Hell, every team they're sending over here has their own personal masseuse. Not masseur, masseuse. But it doesn't matter. Do you know that every Mohawk competitor has an electrocardiogram, blood and urine tests every 48 hours to see if there's any change in his physical condition? Do you know that they use the most sophisticated training methods from the Soviet Union, East and West Germany, and the newest Olympic power, Trinidad and Tobago? But it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I tell you, it just doesn't matter. 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 Even if we win, even if we win, even if we play so far over our heads that our noses bleed for a week to 10 days, even if God in heaven above comes down and points his hand at our side of the field, even if every man, woman, and child held hands together and prayed for us to win, it just wouldn't matter, because all the really good-looking girls would still go out with the guys from Mohawk because they got all the money. It just doesn't matter if we win or we lose. It just doesn't matter. 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 It just doesn't matter.
And it's a lot of fun to watch him kind of riff, and because like you said, you can kind of tell that he's riffing.
Yeah, you can tell it's an improv, but it's a very good one.
Yeah, and it just keeps going, and then he gets everyone involved when they were not expecting it. But it's a great way to wrap it up, and it really is one of the most famous parts of this film. It just doesn't matter.
Oh, it's easily the most famous. Yeah. Does it not feel to you very Robin Williams, that performance? Like when he's yelling and screaming, like, take down from the heavens, and he's yelling so loudly.
I could see that, I guess.
I got a very, again, and that era, 70s Robin Williams of just, let's be honest, coked up Robin Williams. But I felt a lot of Robin Williams in that. I'm not saying it good or bad, just I could see it in the performance. At least it felt like it. Interesting.
Yeah. I did like at the softball game in the Olympiad, Camp North Star's down. They have to figure it out. I forget the girl's name who's going to bat. She goes up and Bill's giving her the pep talk of, not disappointing him because he could be a Yankees coach. And then one of the girls comes up and she's like, look at that girl over there, and points to the girl in left field.
She even says, she says, you see the girl with the big boobs?
Yeah,
she calls her out. Yeah.
Hit it to her, she can't catch. And then this little girl holding this giant wooden bat that's as big as she is comes in and hits
no practice swings also. I noticed she stood up there and took zero practice swings.
Who needs warm-ups? She hits the ball to the left field girl with the big boobs, and the ball gets in her shirt somehow. And that's so technically she did catch it, but it's just in her. No.
That's not how it works. Not in Canada.
I just thought that was so funny. That to me felt very 70s. Like, yeah, just it's in her shirt suddenly. We have to get that out.
My favorite part of the Olympiad, and it's obviously only because I high jumped in high school and college, but when they do the high jump.
You did? Wait, how high did you jump?
I jumped 6'8". It's a high school record. No big deal. It's 13th in the nation. No big deal, everybody. Look where it's got me.
Man, the other 12 guys podcasts, where are they? That's what I want to know.
One of them is right above ours. But I love, he's like, Tripper, any advice? And Tripper looks at me and goes, yeah, try to jump really high. And I would use that line all through high school and college. I'm like, just try to jump really high. The Olympiad's fun, though. It's the
Olympiad is fun,
silly events.
And then, of course, the big thing at the end is that girl mysteriously broke her leg.
Somehow.
Who can run the 4-mile race? No one but Rudy, who's been training all summer with Tripper.
And who happens to be the only kid in the camp who's at this CIT only meeting where they're talking about who's going to run. Tripper's like, I know this kid. And I'm like, where are the other fucking kids?
No, no one else is there.
And that was the line where he's like, Finkelstein's your man, sir. Finkelstein.
Also, before the CIT overnight, Bill tells him to run 2.5 miles, and he says, I've never run that far before. So you really are seeing the progression, because now he's running the 4 miles confidently.
Yeah. Tripper's an amazing coach.
Yes. Can I say the one thing that I noticed, let's say, during the race that I thought was an interesting choice was you've
the
mentioned
race itself. Okay.
You've mentioned multiple times that Elmer Bernstein scored this film, but during the race, there's no music. It's just the two of them running through the woods, and all you hear is heavy breathing and sticks breaking.
Yeah, it's called it's dramatic tension, Gary. You went to film school. Come on, man. I can't do it all here.
I don't need heavy breathing for that. You can add a little something, Elmer.
I mean, he might have been on a budget. Let's be honest. He probably was on a budget.
Honestly, he was probably on to the next film he was working on. He was working so much in that time.
Speaking of music,
yeah,
we've talked about how amazing the theme song is. Or is that the theme song? I guess it is.
It's the theme song
for the summer. There's another song in this film. Do you know where I'm going with this yet? Okay. It happens early on. When's the first time we hear it? Oh, we hear it during lunch when the first time we're in the big mess hall.
Yep.
And it's a song called Meatballs.
Yeah.
They're like, meatballs, meatballs. And then they do it, I think, again at the Olympiad.
I'm gonna pull that.
You know
that's gonna be my new ringtone for you.
It should be. But you know who sings that song, right?
Rick Dees.
Rick Dees, baby. Rick fucking Dees.
And his cast.
Why is he singing any song in his cast of idiots? Yeah, exactly. Amazing.
I was just doing a crossword the other day, and the crossword clue was 70s hit by Rick Dees. And I was like, Meatballs? That wasn't a hit. No.
That was really it? Was that it?
It wasn't.
Oh.
It was Disco Duck.
What the hell is that?
It was a Rick Dees song, apparently.
You say so. I don't know. What else? I mean, you all know this movie. What else? What have we left out? It's pretty good. We should talk about Morty. How great is Morty?
Oh, man. How great is Morty? That's a great running gag in this film, too, is them moving Morty's cot in the middle of the night.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Hi Mickey. And that's another
Hi Mickey's great.
Just, what is now classic Bill Murray is the first time we see Morty, and he walks out and he's like, okay, quiet, guys, everybody, and he's got the shirt. When the hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. They're like, hi, everybody. There's a bunch of new people here. My name's Morty. And they cut to Bill Murray, and he's got this kind of side eye, and he's waving his hand like up. And then they all go, hi, Mickey.
Yes.
But it's like such a great intro into Bill Murray's character. Like, he lined this all up and is like the orchestrator, and it's like such a nice little touch on the Tripper character.
And then even when they're with Camp Mohawk and he's welcoming them, I think it's for the Olympiad, same thing.
It's the Olympiad,
he introduces himself, and then all the kids from Camp Mohawk and Camp North Star say hi, Mickey. It's really funny.
Well, you mentioned they had the recurring gag of taking him out of his cot and putting him out, and the morning of Parents Weekend, he's on the side of the road. And all the parents are like, hey, Mickey, good morning, Mickey. Hi, Mickey. Like all the parents driving by are saying it.
That's funny.
The guy who plays him is really good. He's like unflappable, and he's so funny, and he does such a great job.
Yeah, he's very good.
And he's really great in the closing credits. The movie ends and everybody leaves and they say, bye, Morty. We'll see you next, or have a nice winter. And he's on the log raft in the middle of the lake with his little nightstand, and he can't figure out how to get off. And he sleepwalks into the water. He gets back up. He takes his shirt off. He's waving it around. Like the entire closing credits are over Morty.
Yeah.
In his bed on the water. It's like
so much fun.
That guy is great.
Yeah. He's someone that I wish we saw more of, because we didn't see a lot of him, but when we did, it was gold.
Yeah. Every time you saw him, he was good.
Yeah. Well, Mickey, all I can say is if you haven't seen Meatballs in a long time, like I hadn't before I rewatched it, go watch it. It's such a good watch. It's so much fun, especially for the summer.
It's worth it, man. It totally holds up. It didn't get great reviews when it came out in 1979. I think it got kind of slammed a little bit, but it made a ton of money.
Yeah.
It was like 5th place, I think, in the US on opening weekend. It became the highest grossing at the time, the highest grossing Canadian movie of all time.
Wow.
Highest grossing Canadian film in the US. Like, it earned over $70 million.
That's a huge box office for a $1.6 million budget.
Well, I mean, think about it. You know, Animal House was the summer before.
Yep.
So that's your SNL, and we got to go back and do Animal House at some point. But that's your first real SNL movie, I guess. Really.
Yeah.
Sorry, foul play. And then, so the next summer, you get Bill Murray doing an amazing job at a very similar movie. So of course it's going to do well. And it's a good movie. I think it holds up. Like, it's really good. I think the PG of it is really what makes it last. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I think if they would have went harder for whatever reasons, it may not have the longevity, but like, I could see this being very easily like the second movie I show my daughter when she grows up.
I was just going to ask if you've already shown it to your daughter since it's a PG.
No, but she's seen Animal House. So
Right.
she was sick one weekend when she was 2 years old. So we watched Animal House. So now she knows.
Now she knows.
What kind of legacy does this movie leave, if any? No? Anything?
That's hard to say because I feel like it's forgotten. It's just kind of in the...
You think so?
I do.
Because what I would say is forgotten is the 3 sequels this movie spawned that are completely forgotten.
I believe...
None of which involve Bill Murray or Ivan Reitman.
Right. I think Meatballs 3 was the only one that had even any of the characters, right? Rudy was in it, but not played by the same guy.
No, you know who played Rudy in that movie?
I'm totally blanking right now.
A young Patrick Dempsey.
That's who it was. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one gets lost because Bill Murray has just so many films now that are classics that he did. And I think it probably got overshadowed quickly by The Jerk. Just in that
era,
immediate time frame. Yeah.
Maybe. But this is probably the birthplace of, quote unquote, Bill Murray. Like, from the beginning of, I'm going to wait until the very last minute and be so elusive and come on and do my own thing. I think this movie, the fact that he did what he did and the movie was successful based on him, I think this is really the birthplace of what we would call Bill Murray.
But he's been playing this, like he's played this character on, like we see it on SNL. I don't know.
I mean the aura of like the entirety.
Oh, okay.
Bill
So
Murray.
I see.
Like,
you're not saying on screen.
Yes.
You're saying that like
I see. Bill Murray,
okay.
the aura, the person Bill Murray.
Okay.
Of like you don't know if you're gonna get you don't know if he's gonna show up or not. You don't know what he's gonna do. He does his own thing. He plays by his own rules. Bill Murray.
Yeah.
I think it kind of starts right here. He found out he could do it, and he's going to continue to do it.
The only thing left to say is go watch Meatballs. It holds up. It's fun to watch.
Go watch it. Enjoy your summer. If you got a random night you're not doing anything, go find Meatballs.
Yeah, it's out there.
I have it on DVD, so it was very easy, but I'm sure it's out there.
Next week on the Not Ready for Primetime project.
Dude, it's summer, man. I'm on vacation.
I know. We head into July. And because of that, we're going to do something different. We're going to have a vintage Not Ready for Primetime podcast episode.
Say what now?
That's right. We're going to replay season 2, episode 11 with host Ralph Nader and musical guest George Benson.
I love this idea.
This is a great episode. It's a fun episode. Bill Murray's first episode.
Yes. Look at this. How timely.
Right? It's as if it was planned. And
it's like you planned this.
We are joined by Doug and Jeff.
Doug Hill and Jeff Weingrad, our friends who wrote the book Saturday Night, The Backstage History to Saturday Night Live. Yeah, this was really fun talking to them about Bill's entry into the show, but also just their work on that amazing book and stuff. So yeah, if you haven't heard it before, check it out. Or if you had, again, give it another listen. It's such a fun episode.
It's a lot of fun. 2 weeks from now, we will be back with a new tournament talk and then a bunch of other stuff this summer coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a fun summer. Enjoy yourselves, everybody.
Are you ready for the summer?
It just
Gary, take us out.
doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter.
It just
It
doesn't
just
matter.
doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter.
It just doesn't matter because all the listeners are going to go to the SNN podcast anyway, so who cares?
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
Thanks for listening to the Not Ready for Primetime Project. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, please take a moment to rate and review the project wherever you find us. You can also drop us a line to let us know what you liked or didn't and what else you might like to hear in the future at nr4ptproject@gmail.com. And lastly, you can find us on social media everywhere at nr4ptproject. Thanks again for listening. Have a pleasant tomorrow. The original music for Deep Thoughts is provided by Jacob Spiewak. The announcer is Jason Taylor. Good night and have a pleasant tomorrow.
What happened? Where were you?
I was with Jackie in the woods.
In the woods? Right where you wanted.
Yeah.
Oh, Spaz, you old makeout master. How far did you get?
Oh, we just went down to Lookout Point and then we got cold.
No. How did you make out?
Well, we just kind of talked.
You had her in the woods and you just talked?
No, well.
You didn't do anything.
We were sitting.
You didn't do anything.
I held her hand when we walked home.
Held her hand? Spaz, you're on your way. That's great.
Yeah.
Held her hand.
Yeah.
In the woods.
Yeah.
And it was dark.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, good times.
Oh, leave that in.
Name's Morty, not Mickey.